Hello students, welcome once again to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to read a new lessons from your NCERT English textbook, The Alien Hand. And the title of the lesson is Golu Grows and Knows. Let's check this out. Lesson number 5, Golu Grows and Knows. It's a story written by Rudyard Kipling, the same writer, the same author who wrote The Jungle Book. There was a time when the elephant had no trunk. Golu, a baby elephant with bulgy nose, is full of questions. He goes to the Limpopo River to find out more about the crocodile's eating habits. So these are the features which we are going to find out from the text, from the story. Now let's read it. Long ago, the elephant had no trunk. He had only a bulgy nose, as big as a boot. He could wiggle it from side to side, but could not pick up things with it. There was a baby elephant called Golu. He too had no trunk, but only a bulgy nose, as small as a small boot. Golu was full of questions. He asked his tall aunt, the ostrich, "Why don't you ever fly like other birds?" Then he asked his tall uncle, the giraffe, "What makes your skin so spotty?" He asked his huge uncle, the hippopotamus, "Why are your eyes always so red?" He asked his hairy uncle, the baboon, "Why do melons taste like melons?" The ostrich, the giraffe, the hippopotamus, and the baboon had no answers to Golu's questions. "Golu is a naughty baby," they said. "He asks such difficult questions." One day, Golu met the myna bird sitting in the middle of a bush, and he asked her, "What does the crocodile have for dinner?" The myna said, "Go to the banks of the great grassy Limpopo River and find out." Golu went home. He took 100 sugar cans, 50 dozen bananas, and 25 melons. Then he said to his family, "Goodbye, I'm going to the great grassy Limpopo River. I will find out what the crocodile has for dinner." He had never seen a crocodile and didn't know what one looked like. He met a python and asked him, "Have you ever seen a crocodile? What does he look like? What does he have for dinner?" The python uncoiled himself from the branch of a tree but said nothing. Golu politely helped him to coil round the branch again and said goodbye to him. Golu meets the crocodile face to face. He gets the python's help when he needs it most. Golu grows a long and useful nose. Golu moved on, eating sugarcane, bananas, and melons. After a few days, he reached the very edge of the great grassy Limpopo River. On the bank of the river, he saw a log of wood. It was really the crocodile who winked at him. "Excuse me," said Golu, "have you ever seen a crocodile?" The crocodile winked again and lifted half its tail out of the mud. "Come here, little one," said the crocodile. "Why do you ask such questions?" "I want to know." "Come close, little one, for I am the crocodile." And he shed crocodile tears to show it was quite true. Golu was afraid, but he sat down on the bank and said, "You are the very person I was looking for. Please tell me what you have for dinner. Come here, little one, and I will whisper the answer to you, said the crocodile. Golu put his head down close to the crocodile's snout, and the crocodile caught him by the nose. I think, said the crocodile, today a baby elephant will be my dinner. Let me go, you are hurting me, Mr. Crocodile, screamed Golu. The python, who had been quietly following Golu, came to the bank and said, If you do not pull as hard as you can, the crocodile will drag you into the stream. Golu sat back on his little haunches and pulled and pulled. The crocodile slipped into the water, making it all creamy with great sweeps of his tail, and he also pulled and pulled. Then the python coiled himself round Golu's stomach and said, Let's pull harder. Golu dug in all his forelegs in the mud and pulled. The nose kept on stretching. At each pull, the nose grew longer and longer. It hurt Golu. The nose was now 5 feet long, but it was free at last. Golu sat down with his nose wrapped up in a big banana leaf and hung it in the great grassy Limpopo River to cool. Golu sat there for 2 days waiting for his nose to cool and to shrink. It grew cool, but it didn't shrink. At the end of the second day, a fly came and stung Golu on the shoulder. Golu lifted his long-nosed trunk, and with it hit the fly dead. Advantage number 1, hissed the python. You couldn't have done it with a small nose. Try and eat a little now. Golu put out his trunk and plucked a large bundle of grass. He dusted it against his forelegs and stuffed it into his mouth. Advantage number 2, hissed the python. You couldn't have done it with a small nose. Don't you think the sun is too hot now? Golu scooped up some mud from the bank and slapped it on his face. Advantage number 3, hissed the python. You couldn't have done it with a small nose. Thank you, Mr. Python, said Golu gratefully. I will remember all this, and now I will go back to my family. Rudyard Kipling, Simplified and Abridged. This story is about a baby elephant named Golu. He had no trunk. He only had a bulging nose. It could wiggle but could not pick things up. Golu was in the habit of asking many curious questions to his aunts and uncles. Everybody thought him to be very naughty. One day Golu asked a mynah bird, What does a crocodile eat for dinner? The mynah sent him to the Limpopo River to find out the answer by himself. Golu took a lot of things to eat on the way and started his journey. He met a python on his way to the river and asked him about the crocodile. The python did not answer. Golu went on and reached Limpopo River. He asked a crocodile if he had seen a crocodile. The crocodile called him near and then told him that he was in fact a crocodile. Then Golu asked what he had for dinner. The crocodile asked him to come nearer and then caught Golu by his nose. Golu tried to free himself from the crocodile's grip but could not. The python had been following him. He advised Golu to pull as hard as he could. There was a tug-of-war between Golu and the crocodile. The python also helped Golu by coiling himself around him. Golu pulled his nose by all his strength, and his nose kept stretching and growing longer. His nose became 5 feet long when Golu was free at last. Golu waited for his nose to be short again, but it did not. Then he killed a fly with his trunk. Next, he plucked a bunch of grass with his long nose and ate it. He also managed to put some mud on his head with the help of his trunk to escape intense heat. Golu was now satisfied with his long nose and he went back home. That's how Golu grows a nose. Exercises. Answer the following questions. Whom does Golu ask, "Why don't you ever fly like other birds?" Golu asks this question to the ostrich, his aunt. Which uncle of Golu had red eyes? Uncle Hippopotamus had red eyes. Golu's relatives did not answer his question because we have three options here. 1. They were shy. 2. The questions were too difficult. 3. Golu was a naughty baby. Roman number 2. The questions were too difficult is the correct answer. Who advised Golu to go to the Limpopo River? The myna bird advised Golu to go to the Limpopo River. Why did Golu go to the river? Golu went to the river to find out what a crocodile is and what it takes or eats for dinner. The crocodile lay on the bank of the Limpopo River. Golu thought it was, you have three options. 1. A living crocodile, a dead crocodile, a log of wood. Roman number 3. A log of wood is the correct answer. What did the crocodile do to show that it was a real crocodile? The crocodile shed some false tears to show that it was a real crocodile. Come here, little one, and I will whisper the answer to you. The crocodile said this because, again we have three options. He could not stand up. He wanted to eat Golu. Golu was deaf. Remember, he wanted to eat Golu. It's the correct answer. 9. Who helped Golu on the bank of the river? The python helped Golu on the bank of the river. Name 2 things the elephant can do with his trunk and 2 he cannot. You can say an elephant can put a lot of eatables in his mouth with help of his trunks. He can also shower water on his body, but he cannot chew with his trunk and he cannot walk with his trunk. Laughter at sea. A passenger boat was moving slowly in a thick fog. On deck, an old man, rather frightened, asked a sailor, "How far are we from land?" "Half a mile," he answered. "Where?" said the old man. "Straight down," was the reply. Now let's have some more discussions. Who was Golu? Golu was a baby elephant with a bulgy nose. And which uncle of Golu had spotty skin? Uncle Giraffe had spotty skin. Which type of river was the Limpopo River? It was a great grassy river. Who caught hold of Golu's nose and who helped him out of trouble? The crocodile caught hold of Golu's nose and the python helped him out of trouble. What type of nose did Golu grow? Golu grew a long and useful nose. How did Golu prepare himself for his visit to the Limpopo River? After his meeting with Maina, the bird, Golu went home. He took 100 sugar canes, 50,000 bananas, and 25 melons with him. Then he said goodbye to his family and started for the river. Why did Golu hang his nose in the Limpopo River? What happened at the end of the second day? Golu hung his nose in the Limpopo River to let it cool and shrink. It grew cold, but it didn't shrink. At the end of the second day, a fly stung Golu on the shoulder. Golu lifted his long-nosed trunk and hit the fly death. Excuse me. How did Golu's bulgy nose become his trunk? That's the whole story. Golu had a bulgy nose at the beginning. At the Limpopo River, he met a crocodile. He asked the crocodile what he has for dinner. The crocodile called him nearer and caught him by his nose. Golu realized that he had been cheated. He tried to free himself, but could not. A python who was also following him, he advised Golu to pull as hard as he could. There was a tug of war between Golu and the crocodile, and Golu's nose got stretched and became 5 feet long. This long nose of elephant was called its trunk.